everyone. Welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we're going to get started on this cute project, Take Me to the Beach Bench Pillow by Laurie Design. This is going to be fun. So this video is going to be pretty quick. I'm just going to walk you through your homework of what you're going to be needing to do between now and the next video so we can do this amazingly cute project. It is the Take Me to the Beach Bench Pillow project. So I've got all my fabrics out of the bag. I've left the vinyl that came in the kit in there, and I also have my USB flash drive out of this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is transfer the files that you're going to need from this flash drive. This flash drive has all the files that you need to do this program. If you purchase the USB version of the kit, you have one of these USB flash drives in your kit. What I do is I actually have a computer that's right next to my embroidery machine, and I actually use that so I can look at some of the files on the screen while I'm making the blocks. That way I don't have to print out so much paperwork, and it's real easy to have it right next to the machine, scroll up and see what I need. So I usually would go ahead and download all of these files onto that computer, so I have my master file. Then I actually save this because USB flash drives do not last forever. I'll set this aside, and I have another flash drive I will use, and I will download, in my instance, just the PEZ files that are needed for my brother machine. So you will download just the files that you need in the file format you need for your embroidery machine to your flash drive, and then put that in your machine. This will help this flash drive last longer, because these things are great, but they do fail after time, and that way you're not putting this in and out of your machine and potential to lose those files. So then this is my original. I'll put that in a safe spot, and then I've downloaded just what I need to a plain blank USB flash drive that I will put into my embroidery machine, and that will be the files that I use. And this is kind of like the original CD type thing where I put this aside, and that is safe and sound. If something happens to the files on my flash drive, I have a backup to go to the original to download them again. I'll keep this in a safe place, not near a magnet or anything like that, a safe place where you would store your computer files. Okay, so once you've transferred all that, then you can actually, on your computer, you can print out two of the files. The first one is going to be what's called cutting and other instructions. Okay, I printed that out. We'll talk about that a little bit. The second one are the directions for the Take Me to the Beach pillow embroidery. That's what we're walking through a little bit now as to how to get started. You want to print these out because these are quick and easy steps for going through each block. There's another thing which the instructions suggest you print out, and that is the thread chart. Okay, that is actually a wonderful tool that Laurie has done, which is block by block, step by step, everything that you're going to be doing to make each block. If you have a computer next to your machine like I do, I'm actually not going to print that out. I'm going to have it on the screen, and I can scroll up as I go through each and every block. So it might be something to think about in the future. If you have a computer or even a tablet that you can transfer the file to, that way you can have it right next to your machine, and you're scrolling up and you can say, oh, okay, step number 1 is this, step number 2 is this, and the color thread and everything that I need. I find it really handy to have that because then I'm not, dealing with all these different papers and instructions. I only have the couple instructions, and then I can scroll through all the steps by my machine. I find that really handy. If you can't do that, no problem. Go ahead and print out the thread chart. Now, she has labeled a thread chart for each and every block. She can only print out the first few blocks if you want, or you can print them all out depending on what you're going to be needing at one time, or you can print them as you go. All right, so you want to do that. Then we are going to go ahead and start playing with the fabrics. Your homework, this is what this video is going through and talking about. Your homework is going to be to press all of your fabrics, and you want to starch them. So you're going to use Best Press, Terrio spray, some sort of starch just to keep the fabric nice and flat and straight as you're going through this. Okay, so you just open up the fabrics, press them all, and then starch them. Now, one other step which she recommends, and I also highly recommend, is to put a type of a fusible on the back side of your fabric pieces. Now, there's two ways of doing this. Okay, and I'll walk you through this in a second. We have smaller pieces, and we have a little bit larger pieces, and we're going to be, I'm going to the back side here. Take my flash drive out of the way. We're going to be cutting these into different size pieces. You can, fuse this all at once with your fusible and then cut your pieces. Or if you don't want to fuse fabric that you might not be using, you can go through the cutting instructions, which we'll do in a minute, and then cut your fusible for just those pieces. That's what I'm going to do. It takes a little bit longer to cut smaller pieces, but that way you're not fusing some of this extra fabric that you might not be using for this project. You might be using it later for something else, so that's wasting fusible. But if you have a small piece like this and it looks like we might use all of it, you could go ahead and fuse this piece and then cut it. But for some of the larger ones where there might be a little bit excess left over, I wouldn't fuse it ahead of time because that's wasting fusible, and fusible costs a lot of money. Okay, so the fusibles, let's talk about that we can use is either SF101, or what I tend to use is this Palon 860F. This is an ultra weft. It's really soft, flexible, and I use it for all of my blocks, and it works wonderful. Why would you want to use this, you say? This is a fusible that once you fuse it to the back side of your fabric, this is going to help support this fabric to be able to handle all of those embroidery stitches. Okay, there's certain embroidery designs that might be a little bit full of stitches, and the cotton fabric needs a little bit extra support. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of puckering, and we do not want puckering. So I fuse the main background piece of fabric. Say, for example, we're doing this little girl block right here. The blue background behind her, that's what we call the background fabric that she's going to be sitting on top of. That's the piece that we want to fuse. We don't have to fuse her or the fabric for her bathing suit. We just need to fuse the background piece that is basically the foundation of the block where all the decorative stitching is going to go on top of. Then we want to fuse it with something. So when you go to fuse it, after you've pressed out your fabric, you want to use a pressing sheet. So I would put the back side of my fabric down, put the piece of fusible down, and make sure you have the nubby side of the fusible facing the fabric. That's where the glue is. The soft, fuzzy side is going to be on top, and the back side that has the little nubbies, that's the glue you want facing the fabric so it can adhere to the fabric. And then I put a pressing sheet over the top, and this will make sure that it presses out smoothly and won't get any of potential fusible on the underside of your iron. In case you accidentally had it wrong side up, it would fuse to the back of your pressing sheet. So this is just a good habit to get into. Anytime I put a fusible on, I make sure I put a pressing sheet of some sort on top of it to protect your iron and to make sure everything gets done smoothly. All right, so that's going to be your homework, is to press out all of the fabrics, and fuse. Now you're like, well, what fabrics do I cut? How do I know? Good question. One of the printouts that you were to print out says cutting and other instructions. This is Laurie Kent's cutting instruction guide, and it's really wonderful. All you got to do is follow her instructions step by step and cut out pieces of your fabric in these sizes. And follow her instructions to the T, because this first one, it's like the sunbathing fabric here, this one here. We want to make sure that we follow her instructions where it says note the orientation of the fabric. This one, you don't want to have go this way. You want to make sure that you have it in the same direction that she is showing. Okay, and cut exactly what she says. So if it's 11 by 5, you'll cut a piece 11 by 5. Cut 8 by 3, 8 by 3. She is allowed for cushions for some of the border blocks, so you don't have to worry about cutting the fabric any larger. She's already allowed for that in her pieces. Okay, so as you cut each one, you'll also notice that she's labeled what block that these are going to be in. Block 5, block 22. What I recommend, get these out here, is you have a bag system to organize these blocks in. So you can use either a Ziploc bag and label them block 1 through 31, or you can use these really cool plastic, I call it the plastic pouch system. These are actually available on Amazon. There's different brands. And these are used in schools for like math tables, any other project or assignment that they can use this assignment sheet over and over again. They slide it into the plastic pouch system, and then you use dry erase markers to mark on them, and then you can wipe it off. Now, I've also learned a tip. Dry erase markers are great for this, and they come off very easily. And when I say very easily, they will come off if you're rubbing in between. Say you've got 30 of these, and you're going and flipping them in between, they will start to rub off. And then you have to relabel. Not a big deal. So here's a little tip. Use wet erase markers. Then they'll be a little bit more permanent when you're doing the project. Then you take a wet paper towel and you can wipe the markings off. So either dry erase or wet erase. They'll be a little bit more permanent. Never use a permanent Sharpie or any other permanent pen. Otherwise, these will be marked forever. So if you want to continue to use these project after project, I recommend the wet erase markers. That way they'll stay on a little bit permanently until you're done, and then you wipe them off. I have a collection of dry erase markers, so I'm actually going to be using those until they run out, and then I'll purchase the wet erase. So I just have to make sure if I start to see it coming off as I'm flipping through to get what I need, then I'll just go, oh, I got to remark it. Not a big deal. But either dry erase or wet erase markers for these pouches. I'll put a link in the description below for these pouches. They don't have this brand anymore. I'd like this brand. It was Adore You, because they're stitched very nicely. But I did find Amazon Basics now sells them, and they have some nicely stitched ones. You want to get ones that are nicely stitched because they're going to last longer. You're going to be using these for a lot of projects, so you want to have them stitched nicely so they don't fray and come apart on you very quickly. Okay, so I use these for all my projects, and I would label this block 1 through, what did I say, block, was it 31? Yeah, block 31. So you need either 31 bags or a set of these, and I think there's 35 in a set. Or do like I did, and I end up eventually buying 3 sets of these because I have multiple projects going at the same time. If you don't want to do that and you don't have 31 Ziploc bags handy, here's another system to do. Get a small stack of sticky notes and clover clips. Okay, so this system is the sticky note system. And I have a box of clover clips, which I love instead of pins, threads everywhere, because they don't poke me and I don't get blood all over my project. So you can literally just put a sticky note on it. Pretend this is a piece that I've cut. I put the sticky note on it, and then I put a clover clip on top of that. And then I have piles of these. Okay, the sticky note won't stick by itself, so I just use that as a marker, and then I put the clover clip, or you can use a regular pin and pin it on, and that way you have block piles. So as you go through her instructions, it'll say this piece is for block 5, this piece is for block 22. So then after you cut these pieces out, then you want to put them in their pile so that you have everything for all 31 blocks labeled together. All right. So then what I would do is I would cut everything first per her instructions, label them, then I go back and then I would cut my fusible, put them in the same pile, and then I would go back and do all the fusing at once. I tend to do each step at the same time. So I know you're going to have fun doing this. This takes a little bit of time. Be patient with it and go through it. Your homework assignment between now and the next video is to download the files to your computer, put what you need on another USB flash drive to go into your embroidery machine, put that aside, press all of your fabrics, starch them, then we can start cutting the fabrics per Laurie's instructions, and there's several pages, so just go page by page, do one at a time, and then put them in their block category, either your Ziploc bags, your plastic pouch system, or your sticky note system. Organize it in all of the blocks. Okay? Then, when you're all done with that, there's one more thing we're going to do before we can get started. On the first page of Laurie Kent's Cutting and Other Instructions, she talks about sewing these, 5 pieces together that are going to be a combination of what we just cut. So she'll tell you block 6, you're going to pull your pile or your pouch, this is block 6, and you're going to pull these 3 pieces out. And she says sew together first before embroidering. And you're just going to sew these pieces together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Your normal quilting seam allowance, 1/4 inch. Sew these together so that they're in this order. Then go ahead and press it. Press your seams to make it nice and flat. And do that for all 5 of those pieces. Then you're going to be totally ready to go when we go to the embroidery machine. My goal when I do projects is I always want to have all of the prep work done, all of the items in my piles, ready to go, so when I go to the embroidery machine, we can just start cranking them out. And I don't have to keep running back and forth across the room to my different tables to do certain steps. I want to have all the prep work done first. So sew those pieces together, flatten them to get your seams out, and then put those back in your block 6, 13, 23, 24, and 28 piles. And then you are ready to go. Put your piles in numerical order, and that's all you got to do. And then next time, we're going to start embroidering this awesome project. So I hope you had as much fun today learning about what we're going to do. You can rewind this video as well as you go through the steps to make sure that you've got each step down and really refresher on what you need to do. And then I'll meet you back here next time where we will start to embroider the blocks. So all this work is worthwhile because the quality of work that we put in now, the extra time we take even to fuse the back of the cotton, is going to make a beautiful product pucker free when we get down to the end of this. So thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited to work on the next step. So I'm going to do all my prep work, and I'll meet you back here next time on Jolly Molly TV. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. That is the best way that you can help me do what I do for you, and I really, truly appreciate it. And also click the bell notifications. That way you'll be notified when this next video comes out. Okay, guys, get to work on your homework, And I'll see you here very shortly on Jolly Molly TV. Until then, have fun. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.